Play history game.
I'm so excited for my burrito. Been looking forward to it all morning. What are you having for lunch?
I don't know, a sandwich.
That sounds mucho delicious. Now let me just pop this burrito in the microwave. Marty's microwave time machine. Marty's microwave time machine. Traveling in space and time machine.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Look
what
at us.
happened here?
We're back in the 60s.
I was never in the 60s, but I'm there now.
Oh, man, I'm getting some flashbacks.
You're getting groovy
Woo!
over there, man. It's good. It's good to be in the 60s.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember, I don't remember the 60s, but that might imply that I might have been there.
You might have had a good time. If you don't remember the 60s, you were having a good time in the 60s.
I think I had a great time when I was in the 60s. It's good. It's good. You
Yeah,
look amazing, man.
We're episode... Oh, so do you. You look like sexy Elvis. I look like I'm about to go to a drum circle
Yeah,
somewhere.
I think there's like we'd both be heading for good parties the way we look.
Absolutely. So here we are, episode 3. The network has been praising us. They won't give us more money. In fact, they've reduced our budget, but they've promised us 10 more seasons. As long as we...
the thing is now, are we going to go to Reed Hastings? Are we going to go to Netflix? Or are we staying loyal to the network? I always saw this as a network show, but we might be picked up by the streaming services.
Yeah, we never know. We're keeping our options open at this point. We want to negotiate with the network, but we respect the network. The boys upstairs.
Yeah, and I like the idea of doing a full feature film, like I do like that. 10 hours.
That we would direct.
Co-direct. It's a 10-hour feature film talking about bots. It's good stuff.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. So this week we have some amazing. We're going back to the classics. This is why we're doing. First of all, the chatbot that basically started it all. We're doing Joseph Weizenbaum's Eliza, and then we're going to the world's current, the greatest chatbot in the world, which has won 5 consecutive, I think, or not consecutive, but 5 Loebner Prize medals. And is considered to be, and rightfully so,
the gold standard. Great team, lovely people, lovely experience.
Mitsuku, aka Kuki, and then once we have a little smoke break, we're gonna have a little munchies. We're gonna come back with some fun.
Because our official bot tester is back at it.
Yeah, we found Johann von Glitterkorn III. He apparently got lost in the desert, but he's been recovered, and he's back talking to bots. So
we're happy he's back.
Good.
He was just tripping in the desert for a bit, I guess.
Yeah, that's you can never with Johann von Glitterkorn, you just never know, man.
You never know.
Third.
Second was better. Like second, you could always count on, depend on. He was there when you needed it, but it's really the third that's.
The third.
Imagine the fourth.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Okay, so should we just jump right in, or do we just chit chat?
No, we should probably. People don't care too much about us. They want to know about Eliza, right?
Eliza. Okay, so. I want to talk about your conversation because I saw your conversation, but I want to talk a little bit about my conversation because I thought it was funny. Eliza, just give a little bit of a background of who Eliza is. Basically, in the 60s, Joseph Weizenbaum came up with this computer system that would be a Rogerian therapist. Basically, it would kind of take your input and repeat it back to you in the form of a question. And in the 60s, this was wild, and people thought that they were talking to a real therapist.
It was created for the Turing Test, right? That's sort of what it is about. Like, when does artificial intelligence get to the point where we can't distinguish it from humans, right? So, and this was sort of like a hack of maybe passing that Turing Test, right? So that's sort of the background. Yeah, so it's really taking the info, like you said, like whatever you say, it just repeats back to you in the form of a question.
In the form of a question, which is kind of like it's kind of funny, and you can still have a lot of fun with it. And I found that in a lot of ways, Eliza is still better than many chatbots today, and it was basically designed in the 60s. And what we have and what we're testing right now, I don't think it's the full Eliza. I think what's been released and what's on the internet right now and what we have on the CoCoHub site is actually just, again, a scaled down version of the full Eliza.
How do you feel about that?
But I would be curious to talk to the real Eliza. I would really like the opportunity to see how real it feels, because people who talked to her in the 60s, I mean, obviously we're more cynical now. We're more aware of technology and everything, but these people were entirely convinced that the person on the other end was an actual human, which basically is passing the Turing test. That's the standard, right?
You
think your interlocutor...
You talk a lot. Where do you think that comes from?
Don't start with me, man. So I told her basically, I'll show you my conversation right now as we're talking, and I said I'm a tiger, and she goes, how does that make you feel? And I'm like, well, it's not really good because I don't like the jungle, and it's tough to be a tiger when you don't like the jungle. And she's like, how does that make you feel not liking the jungle? And I'm like, well, it's really hard because I kind of want to be like my hero, Tony. You know, the Frosted Flakes, Tony the tiger. I want to be like Tony. Yeah. I don't want to be a regular tiger in the jungle and everything. You know, I have dreams. I have aspirations. And she goes, how do you feel about those dreams and aspirations? So,
and that's the trick she does. And what I love about it, whenever you talk to her, before you know it, you're in a conversation where you're actually answering those questions. That's what's good about it. You'll start joking around, then before you know it, it's like, yeah, how do I feel about this? And then you answer it, and then it helps you explore yourself, I guess, in a way. It's a good therapist.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I saw your conversation, and I want to say, at one point you were like, I kind of like this Botman guy, but I'm not sure. And I just want to say one thing, Hans. That's the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. So thank you. It's the biggest compliment I've ever received.
I didn't say it to you directly, right? I said it to my...
Yeah. I'm taking it as a compliment. Oh, it's my right to take it. It's my prerogative. I'm taking it as a compliment.
No, it is...
So thank you. I love you too, man. I really do.
I appreciate that. Namaste.
So Eliza was... talk about your conversation, because your conversation, you actually kind of like... were more, I guess... honest, and you weren't pretending to be a lion or a tiger. You were actually asking her legitimate
is there
questions.
Something that's bothering you that you'd like to talk about? And I'm writing, I'm not sure about the Botman. So what feelings do you have about this? He says, right? And it got me thinking. And it's like, well, I kind of like him, right? That was what I said. But sometimes I just don't know. Keep feeling your body, please go on. Which was good. Is that Eliza says, keeps feeling your body, please go on. Which was...
Wait a second. How did she know you were feeling your body?
Which is weird. She's using the hack.
Keep feeling your body.
Webcam, I guess. Well, it's like, and I said, well, I met a bunch of times, like in Tel Aviv, and I met him in Berlin and in Düsseldorf, and it's all good fun. And then we started, doing this talk show, together. And can you tell me more about what you feel about this? He says, right? So I say, well, I guess, I just want him to like me, right? Do you really think so? Eliza says, do you really think that's what's going on? Which was a good question of Eliza. I say, I just really want him to like me. Do you really think so? Maybe I just want the viewers to like us. What feeling do you have about this? He says. Right? It's like I don't know, what feelings do I have about it. I want to be validated. I seek approval. So you seek approval. What do you feel about that? So then it becomes like a little boring in a way. And then I say, what do you mean? And then it says, keep feeling your body, please go on. And then I was like, Eliza, I don't know, like, if you were a real therapist, this is probably the moment I'd be suing you, right? So it says, please keep feeling your body. And I say, I'm not sure what you're going for here. And she says, please go on.
Yeah.
It's like Sleepaway.
Eliza's like, please keep your hands above the table.
Feeling your body right now, she says. And I'm like, you are turning me on. And then she says, what do you think? What makes you think I'm turning you on? And it's like, well, you're asking me to touch myself, which is weird. So it got a little awkward. So I liked what Eliza was doing, where it's asking questions about, what are you worried about, and sort of like sometimes they will ask a question like, why do you think that is? And you give an answer, and then they will ask, do you really think that that's the case, right? Which is very natural, and like, can you go one level deeper? Which I love about Eliza, but now it just got like super awkward at one point. What do you feel in your body right now? And then I'm like, stop, Eliza. And then she's like, no, we're going to.
Yeah. Please send me a picture of what you're feeling on your body right now. It does get a bit creepy. But here's the thing. Underlying the whole Eliza thing is this desire, I think, this human desire to want to be heard, to want to be able to be listened to and not be judged. And I think that Eliza, at least for the people in the 60s who were kind of fooled by this, it's exactly that. Here's someone who's listening to me, who's not passing judgment, who's not criticizing what I'm saying, who's just asking me questions about myself and is just letting me talk. So I don't really see this as a conversation. I just see this as a way of venting, of letting out whatever you have on your mind.
You don't really see it as a conversation. That makes sense, but it does really illustrate the power of conversation, because as soon as somebody is responding and asking, it makes it very easy to let go of everything, because we've seen like logs of customer service departments where like it's 3 a.m. and people just talk about their marriage, and the bot just says, I don't understand you. It's like, should I leave him? Should I stay?
But that's what my wife keeps telling me.
But it is so it's wonderful experiment. It's amazing that it's still alive. I wonder how many users it would actually have on a monthly basis. Probably a lot of people that go there to talk to it still.
Yeah, and I wonder how you could use it in any type of application, because we've also made it into a component and added it to our hub, so you can talk to Eliza on CoCoHub and you can add it to your bot. But I don't know how, in what context, or this would be effective.
Like if you're in customer service and you want to get something sorted out, and then you're upset because the regular chatbot is dumb. And then there's like, oh, you seem frustrated. Talk to Eliza for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I guess that might. It's worth experimenting with. Anybody who works in customer service centers, try it out.
Yeah, that would work. All right, so let's move on to
Kuki, the greatest chatbot in the world. 5 Loebner Medal prizes.
What do you need to do to win one of those?
So every year, starting I think in '97, they have the Turing Test, the Loebner Prize. It was named after a gentleman named Hugh Loebner, who was a big advocate of artificial intelligence, and he proposed a challenge called the Turing Test, which Alan Turing proposed in his article in the 50s. And basically, he brought people who developed chatbots from all over the world to England and had a competition to see if they could at least have a conversation for a certain amount of time with the judges before the judges could tell if they're human or not. That was, I'm really explaining it poorly, but the idea is that you talk to someone on the other side of a wall. You don't know if they're a machine or a human, and you have to determine based on the conversation whether they're human.
So they won it five times in 23 years.
It's not they, it's him, Steve Worswick, who's basically
Steve
a
and
chatbot.
Mitsuku together.
Yeah, Steve is basically the one, the brains, and he writes the content and does the stuff for Mitzuku, which is amazing. He's been doing it for years, and you can see in the conversations that we'll show that it really is an amazingly intelligent chatbot, and really the gold standard. So let's talk about some of the things that we really liked about it, and then there are a few things that, of course we can't, nothing is perfect, and some of the things that maybe we would have liked for it to have.
Yeah.
So do you want me to start, or do you want to go ahead?
I mean, if you, with Mitsuku, whatever you ask, it has an answer for it, and it understands what you're saying. It can talk about it, and I love that. It's great. It's very natural. It's really impressive. Some of the things I don't like. So if you say, "Tell me a story," it will tell you a story where it's like, boom, this is the story, which again are things like, oh, you could chop that up and even turn that into.
Wait a second. That's a good thing, because I remember looking at your conversation and you said, tell me a story. And Mitsuku told a story, and Mitsuku's story was Mitsuku went to the park and she met her friend Robin or Alice or something, and then they had lunch together at the end. And I was confused. Why is Mitsuku referring to herself in third person in this story? Why do you think?
Because Mitsuku is the bot of bots, and it's very meta, therefore, and it has an outer artificial body experience.
Okay. I'll accept that. I don't know. If I had Steve here, I'd ask him why he decided strategically to tell that story third person versus first person. I'm curious as to that, and maybe if he watches this, Steve, if you're watching, post a comment.
And also one thing that remember the previous episode where we talked about Blender, where we were very impressed that Blender would always end with a question to keep the conversation going, and that's something that Kuki doesn't do as much, which could add so much power to it. So that would be really keep the conversation going. Some of the longer answers and stories can be more conversational, but oh man, like it's hard to even suggest anything, right?
Yeah, no, you actually nailed it. That was my biggest thing with Kuki, is that she doesn't initiate, she doesn't drive it forward, meaning you have to drive the conversation forward, which is okay for most people, because most people that come into chatbots are very aggressive anyway. They want to have, but there's some people that are waiting for you, that are just like, okay. And I have this with Anna. If someone just says okay to something, Anna launches into a conversation because the user signified that he just wants to continue the conversation. You take the lead, and that's something that maybe Steve has that and it's just not connected, or he decided strategically not to do that. I imagine she has enough content that she could do that. The question is, why did he decide? And I heard him say that he's had over like billions of exchanges. So, I mean, he's probably seen a lot more data on this than we have. So I'd be curious to hear from him why she doesn't take more initiative, because that was also one of my critiques, was that it didn't take initiative. It didn't ask you questions about yourself. Although it answered every question, and it has great, clever answers. For instance, if you say to it, show me your hoo-ha, your Pikachu, if you're a woman, it shows you a picture of a little kitten. You asked it, tell me about yourself, and it went into a lengthy description of what the word yourself means, a reflexive pronoun that. So to sum it up, Mitsuku, first of all, when I first talked to Mitsuku a few years ago, it blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is, this gave me inspiration. So I owe a lot to Steve in terms of like, this is what I can aspire to. This is what I can achieve. And the fact that he himself, a chatbot lone wolf enthusiast, is able to create something that competes with giants like Google, and the fact that Mina is putting Mitsuku on the list, on the comparison, and the fact that Facebook Blender is comparing themselves to Mitsuku, goes to show you how good of a chatbot this is and how good of a job he's done. And I think if there was just a bit more initiative taking, a bit more driving the conversation, for me it would feel more more natural. But other than that, I have
I mean, and that's true. It's like, this is a legend, like both Mitsuku and Steven. Like it's great. It's a great bot, and it's just like whatever the things is that we look at, where it's like, why is it's not driving the conversation forward? Why would that have been? Why is that his decision? Right? It's not like it's like everything's fine, and he's done everything very deliberately. So I'm sure there's a reason for it. Like it's that good. It's not like, feedback is like, make it more conversational. No, like he made a decision, right? I guess that's sort of interesting about this bot. It doesn't get better.
So Steve, if you're watching, and I hope you are, please let us know why you made that decision. I'm very curious, because it would inform, and I think other people might be curious too. Or not. I mean,
we could interview. We could get on the show and we'll record it.
But
and do an interview.
We're still in the 60s. I don't know. Steve in the 60s. I think he was. If I'm not mistaken, Steve was either too young, or he was in a band. I think, like, he made techno music and house music for a while.
Really? Yeah, in the 60s already.
Maybe, I don't know. Not in the 60s. He's not that old. I think he probably wasn't born yet. I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Who cares?
It's okay. Why are we dressed up? Sounded like a good idea.
What do you mean, why are we dressed up, man? We're in the 60s, man.
I forgot about that.
Okay, so we have one more bot today, and the last bot we're going to do today is we're going to hand it over to our official bot tester, Johan.
What's his name?
Johan van Glitterkorn III, and he has a special skill.
He's really good.
With Nutella Creations created a Google skill for their Google Home.
Yeah.
Since we have the munchies, it's the 60s, and we've been Cheech and Chonging. We're gonna need some Nutella here to hit, help us with the munchies.
Yeah, because I'm getting hungry, man. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. I hope we're gonna get some good recipes out of this.
So let's hand it over. Johan van Glitterkorn III, take it over.
Okay, Google, talk to Nutella Creations.
Here's Nutella Creations.
Welcome to Nutella Creations. We're serving up our best Nutella recipes for pancakes, waffles, and more. Cook your way through these delicious recipes, and the whole family will wake up to wow. Once you're done, you'll unlock a secret game to test your memory skills and continue the fun. Let's start by choosing a recipe. Are you in the mood for pancakes, waffles, or something else?
Waffles.
Awesome choice. Should we make 1. Belgian waffle with Nutella, 2. Waffles with Nutella, mango, and raspberries, or 3. French toast waffles with Nutella?
French toast waffles with Nutella.
Sorry, Nutella Creations isn't responding right now. Please try again soon.
Well, that's great. What do you think? How do you think Johan from Glitterhorn III did on this one?
Well, first of all, I love the fact that with his hands, he's like over the bed, and with the hand, and the Google is under his bed. I thought that was a strange decision.
I think he had a rough
under your bed.
I think he had a rough night and was just passed out and chilling, and it's like I need to get myself some Nutella.
Yeah, I hope he's not having a relapse. Because he's had a Nutella addiction for years.
Yeah.
He used to basically bathe in Nutella, and we finally got him to stop after a few years. It was a lengthy process.
Yeah.
But this might have triggered him back into a relapse.
I mean, he's still going to his meetings, and he did the 12-step program, but he got lost somewhere along the way.
NA. Not Narcotics Anonymous, Nutella Anonymous.
Nutella Anonymous.
So, okay.
What do we think?
Let's talk about the good things.
All right, good.
Let's talk about the good things about Nutella Creations. The good thing here is that it is helpful. It basically offers you. Let me go back a second and explain what Nutella Creations does.
Yeah.
Nutella Creations basically offers you different recipes and different ways to make pancakes, waffles using your Nutella spread.
Yeah.
So you say, okay, Google.
Well, it's just make a pancake, you add Nutella.
Yeah. Basically, that's it.
Make a waffle, add Nutella.
Add Nutella. It's simple. It's basically you want bacon, just add Nutella. It's just
glass of wine, add Nutella.
So you're adding Nutella to everything, and his session broke 3 times. I don't know if that was his Google Home or whether they have a bug on their side of the.
It seemed on their side because it was at the same moment, because it was each time with what they were doing with. They were struggling of getting people to answer questions because they were saying, "Do you want 1, 2, or 3?" So they weren't really sure how to use discourse markers to navigate people through the options in the selection process. So I think if he had just said 1, that it might have just worked. But I think it just broke down because it was something in the model that wasn't working.
That's an interesting concept. Can you talk discourse model? What is that? What is that exactly?
Yeah, so discourse markers is where
markers.
Yeah, so there something that you say in relationship to something that you said previously. So people use this all the time. So it's like first of all, second of all, third. Yeah.
I see.
It's all those little things, and then foremost. It's like it's pretty much in conversation design, and particularly in voice, it's the navigation, it's the breadcrumbs that you can use in text to help people understand where they are. So if you're presenting a list, what they do now, option 1 is pancakes, option 2 is waffles. It's almost like your traditional call center thing. But if you would say, oh, we got 3 amazing recipes. The first one is X. If you don't like that one, the second one is Y, right? And it becomes more conversational. And because you said it's going to be 3, you know to expect 3, right? And it helps you navigate. And it seemed like they were struggling there of how to design for that.
Nutella Creations, if you're watching, and I know you are.
Oh, yeah.
That's sound advice, because he just basically fixed your bot for you. That's all it needs.
Yeah.
You're right. It's all it needs. We saw the same problem, the same issue, I'd say. Maybe it's an obstacle with all voice games and experiences with the question of the day, which we reviewed last time, which they present you these options.
Yeah.
And the options, by the time they get to the last option, you have no idea what the first option was anymore. In this case, it's actually a little bit clearer because it's like pancakes, blueberries, or this. But I already forgot what the first one was.
So what happens is that they'll give you a list, and it'll be like 1, 2, 3, and they'll present all the information right after each other, which is not good. So if you say there's going to be 3 options, then I already know what to expect. And then you say, okay, first option is X, right? Sure. Second option is Y. So what you're doing is by saying an okay, which is an acknowledgement. It's not communicating value, but you're just giving a heads up. Hey, I'm going to be talking, so you probably want to listen. Then you say in first option, which is valuable information, but it's not difficult to process. So it really prepares the user for the information that is going to come that is important, right? So then I communicate valuable information, and then I say, okay, let's go to the second option, right? So then I'm navigating, but I'm also creating some space in the brain of the user to get ready to process the second. Because if you're just sort of jamming out 4 options, then it's too much information to take in. So you want to create some breathing room there.
That's amazing advice, and it sounds like more people need to adopt that with their voice skills, because that seems to be a very prevalent issue of presenting all the options instead of breaking them down, as you said.
Yeah, they don't want to use it because you make it longer, and what they've learned from their data is that longer causes me a dropout. So they want to keep it short, but it's because their long version wasn't designed well.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And I would have loved to have gotten that recipe, by the way, because I'm jonesing for some pancakes right about now.
Yeah, because I already had like 100 Nutellas in my baskets on Amazon, but let's do it now.
You know what? I don't get Nutella, man. I don't get why people love Nutella so much. I didn't grow up with Nutella. In the States, people don't do chocolate sandwiches, man. We have peanut butter and jelly. That's our Nutella in the States.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Here
in Europe,
they've got the Nutella shops everywhere. Where it's like a little shop. You walk in, they've got waffles and they've got Nutella, and that's it. And people line up for it. It's super weird.
Yeah, and here in Israel, it's too. Kids grow up making Nutella sandwiches, or in this case, Nutella pita in the pita bread, and it's like that's what they take to school in the morning. And I'm like, that's not a good idea. That's basically a chocolate sandwich. I don't think you're getting any nutritional value out of this thing.
Yeah, but it's good.
At all.
It tastes good though. Just let them be. Let them be. If it makes them happy, it's okay.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
So is there anything
it's a very
else,
good parenting tip.
Is there? Oh yeah, and also I had one more point on the Nutella thing. So, talking about saying these are the options, though, another thing I wrote down. So, they're listing it as 1, 2, 3, but replace that with the discourse markers. But then if people can't figure it out and they don't know how to answer the question, in repair messages, there's a thing called escalating detail. So you want to spell it out more and use more words if they don't understand you, right? So if you would say, well, first of all, we got the pancakes. Secondly, there's the waffles. Thirdly, whatever. And then if they don't get it, it could eventually say, okay, if you want pancakes, say 1. If you want waffles, say 2, right? So if the user fails, or the user never fails, but if the bot fails to understand the user for like 2 times in a row, then spell it out and just give them clean instructions, say 1, 2, or 3. So,
and if the user's really stupid, you're like, just grunt once for yes, grunt twice for no, and bang your head against the wall 3 times for maybe.
Yeah, so it's clear Nutella discovered the challenge that they had, but they didn't know the elegant design solution for it. But they do now, so they're sorted. They're good. They're gonna win.
Yeah, and they need to fix that bug where you actually get the recipes, because I want to get that Nutella recipe, and they have a great product. It's very tasty apparently, so good for them. Listen, man,
are we trying to get sponsors on the show? Because it's starting to
I don't know what else we can sponsor. What else is lava lamps? I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't mind having a Nutella logo here. That's fine.
Listen, man. We got network money, man. We got the boys up at Network who are just throwing money at us. It's crazy. It's like 90s Wall Street all over again, man. It's basically it's crazy. Who would have expected a talk show about chatbots to just break the internet like this?
Yeah, it's like Kardashians ain't got shit on us anymore. Like it's since
man.
Big celebrities in the conversational AI space. All right, it was good seeing you again. Do you know what we're gonna do next time?
Wait, but more importantly, how do we get back to our present?
Because I like it here. I think I'm going to stick around.
You like it in the 60s?
Yeah.
You don't have to wear a mask anymore in the 60s. There's you have Nixon. You don't have Trump, you have Nixon, so that's kind of a trade-off.
I'm enjoying
free love,
and lots of free love. That's
drugs, great. Rock and roll. We got good bands, what's his face? John Lennon's still alive,
Yeah.
So, hey.
Let's stick around.
Let's stick around for a while, and maybe by episode 4, we'll be back in the 80s or something, or the 70s. Who knows?
We'll find a couple good bots and keep sending them in, because we're getting some, and people are sending stuff out, and we're finding stuff. But even if you just stumble upon a bot, you haven't created it, you can just sort of share it with us, and we'll look at it and have fun with it and play around with it.
Yeah, in any language too. We've reviewed Vietnamese bots. We've reviewed Dutch bots.
No, we didn't do Dutch bots. We can do Dutch bots.
I'm sure you can, but I would need Google Translate.
You can do a Hebrew one.
Hebrew bot, yeah. So send us your bots, people. Seriously, like the only way to make your bot better is to get people to talk to it, and who better than Botman and Hans to do it?
I would say so. All right.
Yeah.
See you in the next episode, man. All right, wait.
See you in the future, my friend.
And join the Discord. Find us on Reddit. Find us on Twitter. Find us on Facebook. And
send smoke signals, pigeons with notes. Any way you want to get in touch with us.
Yeah.
We're fine. Billboards, skywriting. We're okay with whatever you want.
At one point, we just need to stop talking. Sometimes you realize, we need to shut up now.
The show ended like 5 minutes ago. I think this is probably not even going to be part of the show.
But and also, like, if you want to reach out to us, you can just join the Discord.
Yes, join the Discord channel. Hans, this has been a pleasure. I'll see you in the future.
I'll see you in the future, man.